at, around 16:37, which would be 4:37 in the afternoon, I had the urge to push. So we were doing practice pushes, and I think it was at 16:47 is when I ruptured. And so full thickness, my uterus essentially blew open. If you imagine the shape of a star, there was 5 pieces of tissue that they had to bring together to attempt to save my uterus. And generally they have 3 layers of stitching. They had 1 layer of tissue holding everything together. And really, you have like a special number of 10 minutes that you have to get these babies out. And even in that case, like 10 minutes cut off of oxygen, you're looking at like severe brain damage. You're looking at all of these other things and not the quality of life that you wish to have for your children. When I do the math, he was born 238 minutes after rupture.
Welcome to The Rainbow Connection. This podcast was designed for mothers who are finding their way through life after loss. Whether you're grieving, trying to conceive again, newly pregnant, or holding hope in your heart for what's to come, this space is for you. Each week, you'll hear real and tender stories of love, heartbreak, healing, and the babies who continue to shape us. I'm your host, Kristin Mundy, a mother, doula, and a woman who's walked this path too. May these conversations remind you that you are not alone, that your baby is never forgotten, and that hope and grief can live here together. Before we begin today's episode, I want to take a moment to talk to you, just you. If you are a lost mom in any season of this journey, I want you to know that I created something with you in mind. Whether you are newly grieving, trying to conceive again, not sure of what comes next, pregnant after loss, or parenting a living child while still carrying the babies who aren't here, you are welcome. I have a free community called the Doula Life community, and it's a space where lost moms can gather without having to explain themselves. A place where you don't have to shrink your grief, you don't have to tone down your hope, and you definitely don't have to pretend like you're okay. Inside, you'll find other women who understand this journey. There are message boards, free workshops, shared stories, and gentle resources. But more than anything, there is connection. It's completely free and it's growing, and it was built to feel like a soft place to land. If your heart has been craving that kind of space, you can join us at thedoulalife.ca/community. I'd love to see you inside. In today's episode of The Rainbow Connection, I'm joined by the beautiful Alexa Conlon, a nurse, a mother, a lost mama, and the voice behind the Beyond the Birth Story podcast. This time, she's the one in the hot seat. Alexa's pregnancy with her son, Kayde, felt healthy, reassuring, like the kind of pregnancy where you slowly begin to exhale. But as so many of us know, pregnancy loss doesn't always come with a warning. Kayde was sadly stillborn. In a single moment, everything shifted for Alexa. In our conversation, Alexa shares what it felt like to cross that invisible line between the before and the after. We talk about the shock of stillbirth, the unraveling of that uncertainty, and what it means to mother children in your arms while still mothering the beautiful boy in your heart. This episode is an honest reflection on grief, on healing, and on the quiet strength it keeps to keep on living and keep on loving after loss. I really loved this conversation with Alexa, and I think I made a lifelong friend. Anyways, enough from me. Let's hear from Alexa. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Rainbow Connection. Today, I am joined by Alexa. Some of you might already know her if you're, tapped into the Lost Mom community, but I'm here with Alexa from Beyond the Birth Story. Hi, Alexa.
Hi.
I am looking forward to chatting with her today and hearing more about her story, because she has a story, and we're going to dive into it. But before we do that, Alexa, why don't you just give our listeners a little bit of about you before we start?
Sounds good. I always have to laugh when people are like, just a little bit. So I'm like, what do I hone in on? Like, this story is big. But Essentially, I am, yes, a lost mom. My little boy in the stars turned 3 on the 21st of September.
Oh, did you know that's my daughter's birthday?
Stop.
Yeah, on Sunday.
Shut up. Oh my, all right.
Wow. Right before the fall equinox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so crazy.
All right. Well, I'll stop interrupting now. You finish.
No, interrupt all you want. I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old little boy, and he was born at 28 weeks. And so, yeah, we'll get into that. But I am a nurse. I am a medical esthetician. I run a nonprofit. I have my own podcast. I'm a wife. I am a lot of things. I have my iron in a lot of fires, but that is the umbrella of who I am.
Well, let's talk a little bit more. Let's start with talking a little bit more about that beautiful boy born right before the fall equinox, September 21st.
His name is Kayde. Kayde Michael.
Let's hear more about Kayde.
He was both of our kids prior to our third were beautiful surprises. And we were due to get married in July of 2022 and found out, I guess it would have been, I think in January or February, we found out that we were pregnant with him. And so I was really hesitant on whether or not I was going to not call off my wedding, but postpone it. And I remember sitting there and like my husband was trying to walk me through it. And I was just saying, you know, let's just wait until I hit 12 weeks in case I miscarry or something, you know. And he looked at me, he's like, that wouldn't happen to us. Like, that won't happen. I'm like, okay, well, my reality is I know people that it has happened to. And so it was something that was on my radar. Anything past 12 weeks, I'll be honest, was not on my radar. I just thought that was my cutoff. That's when you just got your baby in the end. And so, yeah, we went through that pregnancy. Everything was so good. He was healthy. He was growing. I had a C-section back in 2019. And so, you know, as far as we were concerned, the C-section scar was looking great. And it was something on my list that I wanted to try a VBAC. And
so that would have been, sorry to interrupt, but that would have been about 2.5 years in between. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So my daughter turned 3 like shortly after he was born.
Okay.
Or shortly before. Her birthday's August 30th. Yeah. So just less than a month before she turned 3.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was agreeable that it would be a safe thing to do, and under the impression that, you know, we were a competent enough team that this baby would be delivered either way, right? And unfortunately, that was not the case. I was induced at 37 weeks and 5 days. And
was there like a reason for you to be induced, or was that just...
Ultrasound was saying that he was measuring big.
Okay.
Which always take with a grain of salt, because he was born at a petite 6 pounds, 9 ounces. And I guess we were induced 37 and 4, and he was delivered on the 37 and 5. And so I had been very, very, very uncomfortable. And towards the end of pregnancy, we're just so excited to meet these little babes. And so I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's induce. Let's meet them.
When you're feeling like so huge, you're like,
yes,
I wouldn't mind having this
get them out
over with. Yeah,
exactly. And so they said, you know, we'll induce you to give you a higher chance of being able to have a successful VBAC due to the fact that he's measuring large.
Was your firstborn was she large baby?
She was 8'3".
Okay.
So like
bigger,
decent.
Not like average still. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had sectioned with her just when my water broke. I had large amounts of meconium. And I had known some girls that delivered mech babies, and like they seized after they had to go to the city. And so we really just decided to control the outcome and in section with her. So, but it had been 3 years and, you know, I was low risk, even though now talking to like OBs and all of that, like a TOLAC is never low risk. Even if you have low risk factors, what you're doing is extremely high risk. And I was very naive to the entire thing. And with my nursing background, I take that very, very hard on myself that I didn't ask more questions, that I didn't know the signs and symptoms, that I was ill prepared, but also that was not my job to prepare myself for that, right? And so
that's why we have care providers, right?
Exactly. So that sits very heavily in my journey. But so we started with a Foley balloon. And I was already contracting and progressing. And then we kind of slowed down. So we ended up switching to the Pitocin drip. And just labored and labored. There's so many things that, now thinking back, I'm like, these were all signs of like, we could have made a decision and control the outcome. Like I was so not physically sick, but like anxious and nauseous and just like out of my skin when I was walking into the hospital for my induction. I could barely get myself into the elevator. And I had had nightmares leading up to delivering him that he wasn't coming home, but I chalked it up to anxiety. Like I was nervous. I, was trying something new for the first time. We just quickly went to a C-section with the first. And so, and then at lunchtime, I had like slowed my progression quite a bit. And so we had a conversation of, you have slowed down, but baby's happy. We can either go for a section now or I can go for lunch. We'll reassess when we get back. And then we can always go for a section if you haven't progressed. Okay, perfect. So laid there for the half an hour lunch hour. I had progressed another like 2 centimeters. Babe was happy. And so I said, yeah, well, I guess we'll just keep going then. Like there's no reason not to. And then at around 16:37, which would be 4:37 in the afternoon, I had the urge to push. So we were doing practice pushes and I think it was at 16:47 is when I ruptured. And so full thickness, my uterus essentially blew open. If you imagine the shape of a star, there was 5 pieces of tissue that they had to bring together to attempt to save my uterus. And generally they have 3 layers of stitching. They had 1 layer of tissue holding everything together. And so really you have like a special number of 10 minutes that you have to get these babies out. And even in that case, like 10 minutes cut off of oxygen, you're looking at like severe brain damage. You're looking at all of these other things and not the quality of life that you wish to have for your children. When I do the math, he was born 238 minutes after rupture, which equals to be 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh my God. Now, did they know you when you ruptured exactly? Well, obviously, because you had the time, but did they know that you had a rupture and called for a cesarean and you were waiting? Or like, why the wait? Because they always say like, you can get a baby out in 6 minutes. Like that's what care providers say. And that's how they kind of ease your anxiety when making these difficult decisions. But like, that's not what happened. So what happened?
I laid there and they continued to have me push. At one point they told me, like take the sweater off because I was vibrating, like shaking. You're about to have a baby. I'm like, okay. And then he just never came. He never came. And they did 9 unsuccessful vacuum attempts.
Oh.
I begged for forceps because I needed him out. He had flipped, and I found out with like my next pregnancy, I had to have a very early internal exam. And they were like, did you know that your pelvis is like extremely tilted? I'm like, no, but that would make sense. And now looking back, I'm like, I couldn't push a baby out if my life depended on it. Like, it's just not how I'm built. I have to be a section mama. And so it's, yeah. No, I laid there basically not only racing the clock against time of death for him, but for myself as well. I had, my entire cardiac cavity was full of uterine contents. He was found floating in my abdomen. He had like a toonie size piece of white on his belly when he was born. And, still to this day, they're claiming that I didn't tell them any of these symptoms till the next day. And that they didn't know I had ruptured, that he was alive 10 minutes before he was born. There's a lot of gray area. And through the fight of accountability, it's all just been blame on me. It's been...
They have to blame someone, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I even sat down with my therapist a couple of weeks ago. All I wanted was accountability. I wanted someone to apologize. And not in just like, and I'm so sorry, your baby died. I wanted you to look me in the eye, write me a letter, tell somebody that I'm so sorry I didn't follow these steps that day. But there was none of that. It's the mom's decisions determine the outcome. The mom, as if I was on trial for the murder of my baby. That is what it felt like. And, had I have gotten that accountability right from the beginning or through any of this process, not only would it have, aided in my healing, I hold a lot of anger and I'm trying to dig down to the hurt, but anger feels much safer for me. Mm-hmm. But it's literally like when I talk, I don't know if you can see, like my mouth doesn't like align up because I hold so much tension. When I eat, my face spasms. When I wake up in the morning, my teeth are cemented together. It's so, and I don't cry a lot. I don't know about you, but I don't. And a part of me thinks that I'm broken. I'm like, am I doing the grief thing wrong? Am I not sad? But it's like, I am so angry. And that is the wall that I've built. When I allow myself to go down to the hurt, when I do EMDR or anything like that, it's like, okay, there's the tears. And are they ever going to stop? Like, it feels like a very unsafe thing for me.
Mm-hmm. And behind anger is often hurt and sadness,
yes.
right? And being angry, like you said, is a lot safer. It's also a lot more socially acceptable, I feel, to be angry than sad. Like sadness, like being angry, you can still like function usually in society, but being sad can it could take you out. Like if you really feel the breath and the weight of that actual sadness, it's like, are you ever going to get out? Are you ever going to stop crying? So I totally get it because that is for sure one of my walls too. So
it's crazy how you're always told that when you have a baby, it's like their DNA mixes with yours and your cells and they're always a part of you. And when you have your living children running around, you're like, yeah, that is a part of me 100%. But I don't think I necessarily notice on a cellular level in myself until I'm now parenting a child that is not physically here. It's like the ache right down to my bones and my muscles and stress. I know they say it's a silent killer, and it is. It kills me every single day a little bit. And, everyone talks about it has to be a choice. It has to be a choice to push through and try to get through that and rise above it. But when you you just like build these walls up immediately after you lose your baby. And the critical first hours in the first month and the first year, you don't even realize you're doing it until like I'm out functioning in quotations in real life. I'm physically there, but I really struggle in being like emotionally present, mentally present. I feel like I am always checked out. And when people complain about like being late for work because the train is there or things like that, I'm just like, okay, do you not know that, like, yes, that is a horrible thing to have to, a day-to-day issue. But and then the anger builds and builds and builds and builds because I'm like, you're mad about that? A team of 3 let me lay with a dead baby in me for 4 hours and 20 minutes. Like, it's just, it changes everything for you.
It totally does. What was, if we could go back there, I know it's horrible going back there, but what were like, what was it like right after finding out that you had lost your precious baby? And like, what were those, first days and weeks? What did that look like for you? Because we do say, like you just said it, you built up these walls right away. I'd be really curious what, that time really looked like for you.
Immediately after, again, I did not cry. I was in such shock. I heard my husband crying. I look over just to see this white ball in the nurse's arms. And I just hear cries around me and everyone saying, I'm sorry. But I'm just like, what? There's no way. Like, there's no way. I was just recording his heartbeat on the monitor yesterday morning when I got here. Like, no. And so they unwrapped him, and like my initial thought, like he looked exactly like our daughter.
Like, did you ever make it to a section, or did you end up, you did make it to your section? Okay.
Yeah. I had to be rushed in when they finally realized that they didn't have a heart rate. So I then had the doctor's arm up to her elbow at my lady bits to push him back in, plus a C-section, plus major surgery to repair organs that were then damaged from the pressure of the rupture. Plus not even bringing a baby home. Like, there's so many layers to it of what went on, and all I wanted at the end of the day was my baby. Like, yes, a vaginal delivery would have been fantastic, but your medical team is supposed to make the call. If things are going wrong, it's not supposed to matter what your plan is. At the end of the day, yes, it's going to be birth trauma. Yes, you're going to be traumatized. You're going to be hurt that your birth plan didn't go as to plan, but all you want is your baby.
Totally.
Right. And
like,
so
think about the trauma, like I would have gladly like walked through to just make sure that, he or she was here safe.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not comparable.
No, not at all. And so, yeah, I laid with him in the hospital. So he was born at 11 minutes after 9 on the 21st. And I had to let the funeral home take him. I think it was at 6:30 p.m. on the 22nd. So one of the things looking back, and it's, as a mom, my internal instincts, and in every single photo I have him swaddled. I have him tucked under the blanket with me. My instinct is to cozy him in and keep him warm. And unfortunately, it's the opposite that needs to happen. We need to cool them to preserve their body so that we can spend more time with them. And that was never offered to me. We didn't have a cuddle cot at the hospital at the time, but not even ice packs, not even anything. And so that was really hard ultimately. Like, his nose started draining and stuff. And so my husband was like, it's time. Because the funeral home was calling, asking when we were going to be ready. My nurse was like, you can take as much time, like when you're ready. I'm like, how am I supposed to decide that it's ever time for this white van to come pick him up and take him?
Like, I'll never be ready for that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll keep him at this point. Like, that's my baby. And he was perfect, like perfect. It did not make sense. I was just waiting for him to start breathing. I was waiting for him to start crying. Like, there was not a single thing wrong with him. And so once we let him go, like we took him down to the parking lot, we tucked him into the van, and we just waited until his celebration of life. And between coming home and that day, like our house was full of people all the time. And so I would just exist in my rocking chair in the same corner of my living room every single day. And by the time everyone left at between like 6, 7 p.m., my house would just be dead silent. And I would be so exhausted from just trying to like
survive the day, right?
Yeah. And I had to be awake. I had a daughter already. I had all of these things. Never once did I have an opportunity to just rot in bed and cry and refuse to get up. It was always like, okay, we're on to the next thing. We're on to the next thing. And so, yeah, it became, I honestly don't remember a lot of it. One of my best friends, there's 3 of us pregnant. 2 of us were like a day apart in our due dates. And the other one was a couple of weeks behind. But where we ended up delivering early, they delivered 6 weeks after. And the things I remember is like I closed my curtains because I didn't want to see. And the one time I ran upstairs to grab something, I watched them bring the baby home in a car seat. And then you see all the vehicles showing up to meet the baby and all of these things. And so I just remember hiding out in my basement. People tell me they seen me out. They're like, yeah, you brought Jayla to the pool, but you were like a zombie. I'm like, I might have. Like, it's so crazy how you just like forget these things. And I, for a long time, and I still will find myself doing this, is I just sit there and it's like, I'm watching the entire thing unfold as if it's a movie playing on my TV. And I've really gotten good at removing the emotional attachment, the physical attachment and everything. So like majority of the time when I talk about it, I don't cry because it's like, oh, again, it's like a movie I watched. This happen. Like, how horrific is this?
Well, that's even like a form of therapy, right? To like get to like move those feelings and to like purposely or lessen, heighten them, whatever you want to call it. That was like one of the therapies we did for myself, is just like being able to watch yourself in a movie and everything that happening and remove yourself from it. So yeah, I totally can relate to that too.
Healthy or unhealthy, I don't really know. But when I go to therapy,
it does make you functional, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, could you imagine if we were to stay in that state of like, the tears come and they just don't stop? And it's like, I talk often about this microdosing our grief, microdosing the sadness. My therapist said, she's like, what point in the day, what time of the day do you think would be appropriate to, even for 45 seconds, just feel it and cry?
Dip your toe into it.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know how. I need to train myself how to do that. Because like when I wake up in the morning, I'm immediately getting ready for work, being a mom, doing all of these things throughout the day. I'm being an employee.
Yeah, you can't really afford to fall apart.
No.
Like, not just like like literally and figuratively. Like you have a child and you have a job and you need your job. It's like,
yeah.
How do people do this with
and it's hard to dive into that part of your heart. And, you know, I've gotten into routine of like when I lay in bed at night, I'll lay flat on my back and I'll do like the belly breathing and just trying to teach myself how to breathe again.
Mm-hmm.
But when I dive into like the hurt in my heart, like my chest constricts, like I cannot catch my breath. It is so painful. And so and I think part of it too is like when I'm laying here with 2 children, I solo parent 5 days of the week. If I can't get my shit together after, who's going to take care of my kids? Like I don't have someone here right now to hold me and make sure I'm okay. Whereas when I'm in therapy, I know my therapist is there. Like it's a safe place. Like she's going to, not stop it, but just support me, I guess, in that this will pass. Like we just have to feel it.
And bring you back to like functioning again before releasing you back out to
the wild.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's the perfect way of putting it. Yeah. It's scary.
Funny. It is. And it's interesting that you're talking about this because this year I went through something like kind of the same. Like my daughter's birthdays are a day apart. So my daughter who's Earthside, she was born on the 21st, and my daughter that passed was born on the 22nd, which was, Sunday, Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording today on like what is it today? 25th?
Thursday. Yeah. Like just.
But obviously like I had so much grief during her birthday, but it was her birthday and I had to like get up and show up and be a mom. And I was like, how do people do this? Like, this is freaking hard. Like we already had her first birthday, but her first birthday, I was like in the postpartum haze and it was like her first birthday. But this year I was like, whoa, like this is completely different. And how do moms hold it all? And like, I can't even go there to feel this. I can't allow that in because if I do, I'll fall apart. And like, I literally can't. I have a child that's depending on me and I have a job that I have to show up with and I have to keep this house clean and us fed and the laundry done. Like it's just never ending. Right. And so you're just totally preaching to the choir. And I know the women listening to this are like nodding their heads. It's just like, how do you fit it in? Like, yeah, it's just
one thing that and I've like started looking into it more because my brain does not function even half the capacity that it used to. And that is extremely frustrating for me because I used to be able to do it all and do it all seamlessly. And now, even if I have a task in the house, like you said, I have to do laundry today. I will literally just pace in the house, like trying, like my brain just can't understand that I have to go do this task and that I'm trying to do anything else but that task. And like to keep the house clean, to do any of these things, it's like, why can't I just do it? But I'll just go in circles and circles and circles. Or it's like, I'll do one thing in this room, then this room, then that room. And I'll just kind of jump around because it's like, I can't make sense of anything leading up to or past September 21st, 2022. It's like, I'm just trying to change the outcomes and rewire the story. And, I have this crazy sense of need to control everything now. Yet I feel like I can't control anything. And so then you'll catch me just literally chasing my tail in my house. It's like, I'll just need to go outside just to not be in these 4 walls.
Well, the body remembers too, right? It's like during these milestone dates, like your body, even though you lost your son on the 21st, like those first few weeks where you were a zombie, like it's because, and your body remembers that. Like it remembers the leaves changing colors. It remembers, everything about this time of year is a reminder of what has happened. And it makes sense that you would be, spinning. It's like, how do you function? Right.
Yeah.
What was like the best, or like most supportive way that, your people kind of showed up for you? Or like, what was the worst way they did that?
Oh God, you want to dig into the worst way. Ooh. Yeah, I have things to say. First of all, I just want to touch on the fact that you were like the reminders of this season. That September that we lost him was like the hottest and most beautiful September and October we had ever had. And I would sit outside just to remind myself that I was alive while the sun hit my face. And this year in Alberta, we're having the exact same weather, if not nicer. And it's just occurring to me that I've been like hiding out in my house because the fact that it's this hot outside at this time of year just makes me feel like I'm sitting there again. I'm like, okay, that explains why my curtains are closed and I'm kind of just like honing in and like, do I want to be outside? But then like we go to the park last night and we go outside and I feel a million times better. It's like, where is this like this balance of...
It's honestly, sometimes I feel like we almost like avoid knowing what might be better for us because it's like, do I even want to feel better? Like I kind of just like being a hermit right now and kind of like just like sitting in this.
Yeah,
for a little
safer.
while longer, right?
I don't have to put on a face for the people at the grocery store. I don't have to do all of these things, right? So the best way that people supported me was really just being okay with like having the conversation. And it wasn't even a conversation per se. It was just allowing me to talk about what happened a million times as I tried to change the outcome. I tried to rewire the story. I tried to do all of these things and to just have space to listen that, you know, people did check in. They did ask like, truly, what do you need? How are you doing? Like, people would just show up. They would bring food. My husband was sent away to work right after. So it was just me and my daughter here. And it was like just taking care of me when I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't take care of her. Even though I did it somehow, I, you know, just to carry the huge burden that now was placed in my life. And I just would sit here and be like, I don't understand why. Why? I just needed somebody to answer that. And I really appreciated the people who didn't try to answer it, didn't try to find the words, didn't try, because there are none, right? And it's like, just acknowledge that
like a positive spin on it.
Yeah, the everything happens for a reason. They're in a better place. All of that, like say less, do less. Okay, just don't say anything. Agree that it sucks. Say you're so sorry. And something that really bothered me too was when people are like, I can't even imagine. I'm like, you can, you just don't want to.
Like,
because who would ever imagine?
I'm sorry, my reality is too scary for you to even try to sit in it with me. Like, how are you supposed to have empathy and compassion for me and understanding for me when you won't even go there into my world, right?
Or that, like, I would never survive that. Like, you would, and I hope you never have to.
Yeah. Am I surviving? I don't know. Like,
is that a compliment? I'm not sure.
I know
And then the absolute worst thing, hold on to your jaw here, is the people that would say they would be there and then just straight up would not show up. So we had a celebration of life for him. It made sense to me. When a life is lost, we celebrate it, right? And so we did plan a celebration of life, which is not for everybody. And we had hundreds of people come. And supposed to be my best friend, we had been friends since I moved to Alberta when I was 9 years old, said she was going to be there, did like all of these things, and then just didn't show up. Never acknowledged that day that the day was happening. Didn't acknowledge that was my final goodbye. And I find out later that she was, saying to people like, I would never make those decisions. I don't understand why we're having a celebration of life. He wasn't here for a long time. So what is there to celebrate? She couldn't believe people were driving here for it. And like, this chick was supposed to be my wedding party, Kristin. Like, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to cut off relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I had people that would, text me and be like, a month later, 2 months, 3 months, I'm so sorry. I wanted to reach out. It was just too hard for me. I'm like, hard for you?
I know.
Like you could have said nothing and I would have never even thought two things about it. But the fact that you're like, well, then I had a scare in my pregnancy. I'm like, okay, but your baby's here. Like I understand that, but that's not relatable right now because my baby's not here. Right. And it's just that like, don't bring it back to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
people really are just like wrapped up in their own shit, right?
Yes. And like, it's so different, like stillbirth mom to stillbirth mom or full loss to whatever, any type of loss. Like, yes, I want to hear about your story. It is relatable. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking to me about you had like in the critical moments of like my loss, like we thought like something was wrong, but the delivery went perfect. I'm like, did it? Like that's not helpful right now. So it's really like my biggest piece of advice for people who, are reaching out to someone they know, even if it's like an acquaintance, because it does rock your world when you log onto a social media and you see someone's lost a baby. It does rock your world a little bit, at least. Right?
It should. It's a baby that lost their lives, right?
Literally. And just, don't kill yourself trying to find the words because there are none. Don't, bring it back to yourself unless you've been in a very similar situation. Be like, I can relate. I can understand you. Don't say you know exactly how they're feeling because you don't. And there's so many moving parts and there's a lot of pressure I feel on lost moms. And partly why I started my platform as well is to educate those around us how to appropriately support someone and, just change that narrative, make it a comfortable thing to say, to talk about the babies, say their name if they have one. And if the parents want that, don't be afraid to ask, like, how would you like us to, would you like us to talk about it? Would you like us to say their name? And then check in as like time goes on because wishes change and boundaries change. And a big thing too was I lost some friendships because people expected me to be the same person that I was before and they couldn't accept that I was different. And I'm like, if you can't have a little bit of understanding that I went through the worst possible thing that you told me you could never understand and would not survive, is it fair for you to expect me to be the same person I was? I don't think so.
You literally can't be the same person, right? Yeah.
No.
It alters every single thing in your life. Yeah.
Yeah. It really
and like
does.
those relationships, like losing those relationships and, having people kind of, I don't want to say fail you, but like disappoint you because it is disappointing. It is hurtful. It's just like another element of this like devastation because it really does affect everything and not positively.
No.
You do have like those women that come out of the woodworks and where you're like, oh, I guess you're like my new best friend. Like, cause you get this and you've shown up for me and that part is great. But I think when you lose your baby, you're not really ready for your entire existence and life to be completely changed forever. It's just this huge other element of grief, right?
Especially when you're in like the age where everybody around you's having babies and, you imagined your life to be one way and all of a sudden I'm sitting with two other moms that we all were supposed to have boys within weeks of each other. And I'm the only one who's not. And some of my absolute best friends are lost moms now. And it's just a different level of friendship and understanding and relatability. And they're so sacred, those friendships. And if you can find them, and again, starting these platforms and existing in this grief space the way that we are, I have met, lost ones from all around the world. And whether or not we're able to physically grab coffee or we just chat back and forth in DMs once in a while, It's like, you know, that they understand you and they get you, and they're going to be there for you and not have unreasonable expectations on you to be this person that you just don't have the capability not to be anymore.
Mm-hmm. Or they like, you know, they fall in love with the person that you are now, right? That's the person that they've met, right? They're like,
oh, I like that.
Yeah. They're like, they never knew the person pre-loss. Like they love this person.
Yeah. There's
So
a lot of
there's also-
duality in that as well, because a lot of the people that know me now, I'm like, I know you love this version of me, but like, I really wish you knew the old version, the one that was carefree, the one that was just life happens and knew what happy was. I don't know what it feels like to be happy anymore. I find joy in moments and I chase the joy, but to really sit back and be like, I am so happy. I'm not, because will always be this piece missing and I'll always be sad, but I will find a joyous moment. I will have joyous memories, but it feels like they're always tainted with what should have been and what I did have and was given just to have it taken away. It just doesn't make sense.
You know, lost mom to lost mom, especially ones that just like, we both just went through our milestone birthdays. What was this year like for you 3 years later? And like, what kind of got you through those days?
Honestly, like leading up to it. So we did our first legacy walk with his foundation, which is called the Kayde Foundation, and it's perinatal loss support services. And so it just worked out that we had the first walk on his birthday. And leading up to that, I had so much adrenaline running through me, just preparing for the walk, planning, making sure everything went perfectly. And so I don't know if I necessarily had a minute to sit down. And then the night before, I was like, okay, I should be tucking you in. I should be doing all of these things. But instead, I'm writing my speech to give at your first foundation legacy walk. Mm. And I didn't know what the day would bring. I knew I would be busy, but I didn't know if it would like stop me in my tracks or if I'd be able to kind of exist the day. And I'm a true believer in like his angel signs, which are butterflies and ladybugs. They just, right from day one of stepping out of my house after he died, that's just what it was. And it felt that was him. Mm-hmm. And so that night I was like, you know, please just show me that you're here. Show me that you see this. Show me that, you know, just spend your birthday with me and all of these things. And the day before, so one of my girlfriends, like our babies were 3 weeks apart and they ended up having her birthday party the day before Kayde's birthday. And so I listened to my heart and I just said, you know, I can't make it this year. And normally we do the birthday like 3 weeks ago, so I can kind of disassociate and not relate them. Mm-hmm. And so I was telling another girlfriend, because it's heavy on my heart when I can't go to things for my best friends.
Yeah, it sucks. Like you're like, I hate
that I feel like such a shitty friend.
Yeah, I hate that I'm showing up like this friend. I get it. Yeah.
But like, I have to.
Mm-hmm. It's not really even a choice. It's
no. And so I was like telling her this, and as I was telling her, I had a ladybug land on this shoulder and a butterfly land on this shoulder. And I'm just like, okay, it's okay that I'm not going. Mm-hmm. And then that day there was just ladybugs everywhere, butterflies everywhere. And people are like, I would take a picture and then they'd be like, turn around. There'd be a ladybug by my head behind me. Mm-hmm. Or there was one on my leg. There was like all over the place. And so I definitely cried during our moment of silence at the walk and whatnot. But for the rest of the day, I had just this like weird sense of peace of like, no, you have remained close. Like you somehow, in whatever way the universe works, you're here. And happy birthday. I hope you loved your party. But it's just, but that also came with guilt because I'm like, why am I not sad on your birthday? But it's like, okay, it's okay to feel both emotions. And I allowed myself time to cry in the morning. And then I enjoyed the day. I enjoyed holding space for other babies that were gone too soon, for infertility journeys, for hosting a space for other lost moms, supporters to support them. That was like one of the most powerful things. My one friend said she has like a picture of everybody that showed up for her. And she's like, you gave them a safe place to do that. I'm like, okay. So that's what this day was about. Because when you're the planner and you're all of these things, and I don't have the capability to sit back and take things in, they're like, did you look around to see everyone who's here? I'm like, I can't. I was on the house.
I was hosting,
right? And so I'm like, okay, he showed me all of these little signs that was like, Mom, you're good. Like, I'm proud of you. This is amazing. I'm at my party and then to have everybody saying like, how it impacted them, how safe it made them feel, how loved, how all of these things. I'm like, okay, that's why this foundation exists. That's why his legacy is this foundation, because that is who he was. He was so sweet. He just had such a gentle personality. He would have been a wild boy. Like, I definitely know that, but there was just something about my pregnancy with him. I just felt good about it. I had never felt so glowy and beautiful and proud to be pregnant. Like, it was just crazy. And, part of me thinks like, that was the time I was going to get with him. And it was made as beautiful as possible. Because where with my first, I had hyperemesis gravidarum. I was sick 30 plus times a day. And then with my pregnancy after loss, I only was able to carry him for 28 weeks. And I wasn't able to connect. I wasn't able to do any of these things. Yet my pregnancy with him was just perfect.
While we take a quick break, I'd love to tell you all about Mother Like No Other, my community for mothers who are navigating life after pregnancy or infant loss. Whether you're actively trying to conceive, navigating next steps, unsure what to do next, or wondering who the heck you even are anymore, this space was created for you. Because life after loss isn't linear, and deciding what comes next isn't so simple, and figuring out who you are in the aftermath can feel incredibly isolating. Inside Mother Like No Other, we gather for 2 live community calls each month where we talk about the real stuff, navigating decisions, rebuilding trust in our bodies, managing fear and waiting, next steps. There's also an ongoing private community chat where you can show up in real time and growing resource library created specifically for this season. This is not surface level encouragement. It's honest, trauma-informed support from women who truly get it, and a doula who has walked this path too. And the best part, it's only $22 a month. No long-term commitment, just support when you need it most. If that sounds like something your heart has been craving, if you have been looking for your village, you can learn more at thedoulalife.ca/mother. I'd love to see you inside.
Yeah, I would love to hear more about that. Obviously, like when you lose your baby, deciding to like step into the fire again is like, is not a choice that's made lightly. What was that like for you guys and making that choice? Did you feel like you wanted to get pregnant right away? Were you needing time? Especially because you had an abruption, right? So it's like, what did this look like?
Yeah. So with the rupture, I was originally given like a 2 to 3 year window. But I still had Kayde in my arms when they came to debrief the situation. And I was like, so can I have another one? They're like, what? And I want this. I need this. And so I definitely waited the 18 months and that's what is generally recommended for a C-section anyway. And we went for ultrasounds. We went for all of these things just to make sure that my body was in a good place to be able to try again. And I just got to a point of such desperation that I'm like, that's it. I have to be pregnant. We have to do this. I never gave myself or allowed myself to tap into the, not necessarily the what ifs, but like the hesitation. I'm like, I can't get lost in that. I can't get lost in the what ifs. Mm-hmm. And so when we got pregnant, I was so emotional. And my husband's like, we wanted this. Like, why are you so upset? I'm like, for so long, I wanted it, but I wondered if I was ever going to have it, if it was ever going to be a thing, because now we know nothing is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, now looking back on that journey, I was very disconnected. I was very scared. I just over and over said, this baby just has to be okay. We'll have to do whatever we can. And then, I was supposed to go for a 28, 32, and 36 week ultrasound to make sure that my body was compensating with like the stretching and everything. Mm-hmm. And at 27 weeks, I had gone a week early for my ultrasound and my cervix had thinned out to 9 millimeters, and it was supposed to be like 4.5 centimeters. And so they shipped me up to the city in Edmonton. And my water broke when I was there. So I was on antepartum for 11 days. The 11th day, we were taken in for a C-section because I had gone into labor and I was not allowed to labor at all. Mm-hmm. And so, we had enough time to get that magnesium bolus. And from there, we stepped into our NICU journey. Which was...
So he was born, you had a C-section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was even like that? Like, obviously he was born early.
Yeah. I had a full-blown panic attack on the OR table. I had what they call a splash and dash C-section with Kayde. And so I was very scared to feel it again. Mm. And so that... I was just a hot mess express, and I can't even exactly tell you why. There's multiple factors. But
I mean, for us listening, it makes perfect sense that you would be a mess. I think anyone would be. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I was like over and over. I'm like, this baby just has to be okay. It has to be okay. We didn't know what we were having. Mm-hmm. And it just, it was such a like crazy journey. And then, walking into the NICU for the first time, I was still and still am so traumatized from my loss that I don't really think I comprehended what was going on. I was an autopilot. I would show up at the same time every day, sit in the same chair all day, stare at the same monitor, leave at the same time. Like it was very just like this vicious cycle. And one of the things that killed me the most was like we live 2.5 hours from the hospital. So my daughter was here and I was there with him. And it was like, I need to be in 2 places at once without having to be in 2 places at once because she was in great hands and that NICU baby needed me. Mm-hmm. But it had only she walked this journey of losing Kayde with me, and she's my little bestie. She's my rock. She's everything that she doesn't even know she is. And I don't think she'll ever be able to understand she is to me. Right. And so it had only been us for 5 years. And I needed her to help me through it. And she wasn't there. And so that's the thing that really bothered me. And then towards the end, she started to get, angry with me and on FaceTime and just not understanding, wanting me to be home. And at that point, I was just like, that's it. We need to get out of here. We need to go home. Yeah. And so that was on the Friday or Saturday. We ended up being discharged on the Monday. So yeah, it was crazy. And I didn't think...
How many weeks was he at that point?
So he would have been 35 weeks adjusted. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were in there for 46 days.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. So she just thinks that if you have a baby, you're in the hospital for a long time if your baby doesn't die, right? And she said things to me like wanting me to be at the hospital when she gets older in case her baby doesn't make it. She wants me there to support her. And she keeps asking for a baby sister. But then in the next breath, you're like, oh, I don't know. Like, I really don't want you to have to go live at the hospital again for a long time. And that's what happens when we have babies. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like,
This is normal, honey.
No.
Like, this is normal.
No. The other day at school yesterday, they had them draw a picture of things they worry about. And she has the sun up in the corner and her brother flying in the sky. Yeah, so then I go in there, I'm like, oh, what's this? And she goes, things I worry about.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking.
Okay.
What does it look like for you guys, to carry Kayde in your family now and like his memory and honor him? Obviously, you did this amazing walk.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you started a podcast. Those are two huge things. But what does like everyday life kind of look like for you guys?
We talk about him often. We, try to say his name as much as possible. If Jayla has questions, like we try to answer. And, we just, every time we see a ladybug or a butterfly, she's like, oh, Kayde's here. And so we talk about him, and we have his urn here. We chose to cremate him and bring him home. So he was with us all the time, which I go back and forth because a part of me definitely wanted him in our home with us. But I also hear of people who do have them at the cemetery. And it's like you remove yourself from all the other parts of your life to go sit with them for an hour. And it's just about them. Where I'm like, okay. Because for me here, I'm like, again, doing that circle of like all of these things need to be done. But I'm trying just to hold space for you for a minute. But I don't know how. But it's like one of those things, even when you work from home, you're like, it's easier to go to the office.
It's like there really is no perfect decision. There's pros and cons to both. It really is like an impossible choice. It's like you wish you could have it at all, but none of it at the same time, right? You're like...
That's exactly it. Yeah. And things change as you go through the years. Like the decisions we made in the first critical hours are different than what we would do today. I wouldn't do anything differently. I would just add things to what I would do. I don't regret a single thing. I just would have done more. Anyway. But yeah, we talk about him a lot. We do. And we celebrate his birthday. He now has his foundation. So it's like his name is on people's lips. And I needed that. And, it was so amazing. At the end of his walk, I had a friend there, and, she explained to her son what this walk was for, all of that. And they were coming to say goodbye to me. And I had never met him before this day. And she comes to give me a hug, and he, with the utmost confidence I've ever heard come out of a kid's mouth, he goes, bye, Kayde's mom. I was like,
oh, that must have felt so good to hear.
Like, it was like a punch to the heart, but like a good one. Like whatever you would call that. Fireworks, maybe. It was just like, and she looked at me and she's like, oh my God. I'm like, I know. Cause like you hear Case's mom, Jayla's mom, all of these things, because they exist with me here. But to like hear that, and from a child who was not told to say that, it's just so pure and innocent, right? Like, I just love kids for that very reason. They just like say how it is and what's on their heart. And like adults are just so like constrained by their biases or like what they should do, shouldn't do. And kids are just like, no, you're Kayde's mom. I'm going to call you Kayde's mom. I don't really care how it makes you feel. Like, right? It's like, that's who you are. I'm like, exactly. And like, yes, that is who I am. Thank you. Oh, that's so special. Yeah, I love that. What does life kind of look like for you and your family right now? I mean, we just talked about a little bit about it with the milestones and how you honor Kayde, but like what's next for your family? Do you guys,
I mean, your daughter is talking about a little sister. Is that something that, how does that feel?
I go back and forth, honestly, because again, opening that doorway to losing again, putting yourself in a position to be incredibly hurt again. I don't know if you've ever heard about the ring test, but I do that often. And I've always gotten girl, boy, and then that's it for my babies. Mm-hmm. And one mediumship reading I had went to, he had written a letter to Jayla and was like, I need you to take care of my brother and sister when they come. And now whenever I do the ring test, it's girl, boy, girl. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I just feel like there's this little baby waiting for us. And I always imagined myself to have at least 3 Earthside children. But I'm like, do I want this? Or am I going to be chasing Kayde for the rest of my life? Like, will it ever feel complete? I don't know. And so,
it probably won't, right? Because he's always not going to be here. And that's the hardest part. And this is another one of those secondary griefs, right? Where like when you're young and you picture the family that you're going to have, like some of us picture like a big family. And now when you have gone through loss, it's like, I need to reevaluate that. Cause it's not even like, if I can do it, it's like, well, like physically, sure. But like, can I even handle it? Like, because now I have a daughter and a son and I have to like show up for them. It's not just like one of those innocent, easy breezy pregnancies, right?
Yeah, that's just it. And just, it's all the unknowns, right? And people are so quick after you go through something so horrific. They're like, it's going to be okay. Like this baby's going to be fine. Everything's going to be good. And I'm like, well, we don't know that, because then I ended like Kayde was perfect too. And last minute, he wasn't here, like quick, right? And then you told me that with Case, and my water broke at 27 weeks. Like, yes, thankfully, he's so perfect and great now. But again, we didn't know what that would look like when my water broke. And, they couldn't find a heartbeat initially. Like, it was horrific and re-traumatizing and all of these things. And like we said, like, I'd rather go through the birth trauma and everything and have the baby here to share the story with. But it's just a completely different journey and experience.
Totally. Well, I'm so thankful that we've had this conversation. There's so many touch points that we've got to kind of talk about and leave our listeners with. And there's just so much value that we've shared here. And I know there's so many moms like nodding their head. I mean, like, I feel so seen. Like, even just the anger part, like, there hasn't been a lot of moms that, because even as women, like, we're like, don't be angry, don't ruffle feathers, don't rock the boat. You're supposed to kind of be like this people pleaser. And like, anger is such like an emotion we don't really talk about, but like, you have every right to be angry. And I know there's a lot of women listening who are angry too. And it's like, I think just hearing you're giving them that permission that like this feeling is real and it's valid, and you have permission to, to feel that. And just so thankful to sit down and get to know you better and your story, and obviously Kayde's story and your other baby story. Just so full of gratitude to connect today.
I'm so thankful to be on here with you.
If you could leave, our listeners with a little piece of advice, our lost moms, what would it be?
Never feel bad for putting up boundaries, and try and, figure them out as early as possible, and just give yourself grace as you find them and you navigate them, and they will change, and it's okay to honor that. The people who deserve to be in your life will have no hesitations when it comes to trying to understand and respect those.
I love that.
And it's okay to be mad.
Totally.
And angry.
Yeah. And we totally love boundaries. Boundaries are
boundaries.
An act of kindness, like for us and for them, really. So
Yeah.
Love
Protect that heart. It's broken. This heart is very broken, and we have to protect it.
Only thing that matters, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here, Alexa. Where's like a good place that people can find you? They want to connect.
I have a few, but maybe just find like Instagram at Alexa Conlon. So it's ALEXAA.CONLON. That can kind of be your main hub. All of my platforms are connected on that one. And yeah, I definitely, if you need anything, reach out. I'm always happy to have a conversation and support in whatever way I can. And yeah, I just exist in this space to carry a bit of grief with whoever needs the load taken off.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Alexa.
Thanks.
If this episode resonated with you, would you mind sharing it with another mother who might need to hear it? Sometimes the smallest act, like sending an episode to a friend or sharing it in your stories, can remind someone they're not alone in their grief or their hope. If you do share, please tag at the Rainbow Connection podcast so we can continue to spread these stories together. Thank you again for tuning in today. And remember, you are never alone. I'll see you in the next episode.